Welcome to another episode of A Priceless Perspective. I am your hostess, Dr. Nicole Steele, the confidence coach. And I tell you, I am super excited about the guest. Actually, she's not a guest, she's a regular here on A Priceless Perspective, but we got a plot twist today. She's actually in the guest seat and she is going to be hit with all kind of questions so she can let our listeners know about the incredible work that she is doing. So without further ado, I would like for you to join me in welcoming my special guest, Dr. DeYonne Parker, the courage catalyst, the swagologist, the one that gives people the courage and to face their fears and to do incredible things in life. So welcome home. Welcome home.
Hey, hey girl, hey.
Yeah, hey. So before we jump in, I want you to take a moment because I know there may be some people tuning into the broadcast today who don't know who you are, don't know who I am, but let them know. I want you to tell them about Dr. DeYonne Parker.
Okay.
Yes.
Woo. I love this question because Nicole, we ask this question to other people, and when we are in the hot seat of who are you and fill in the blank of who I am, right? Mm-hmm. And so this question has really morphed and changed over the seasons, especially in this season. But I am very firm and clear on one thing, that I belong to him. Number one, that's who I am. That's who creates this being that you see and that you hear. But I have the incredible pleasure to be able to empower and encourage ladies, leaders, and little girls. And we do that together because I'm connected to this beautiful vessel, Dr. Nicole Steele, and she is my purpose partner in life. God has given me, I feel like he's given me this mantle to carry forward, and has given me the name, the Courage Catalyst. Yes. And that simply means that he has charged me to find the courage to do the things that he's asked me to do, but now to be the hand on the back of the fearful dreamer. And so I am that hand on the back of the person who really wants to do the thing that they desire to do, whether it's start a business, a family, a new venture, getting out there to do something that they've never done before. They just don't know how, and they just need a push. I'm the push. Yeah. And I love being able to say that because I'm able to see people get pushed into their complete potential. And that's a great place to be. So that's the snippet of who I am.
Yes, it is just the snippet because you are a multifaceted individual. But I think that it is so fitting that God has crowned you with that title of the Courage Catalyst. I know your story because I've been able to actually walk this journey with you, and it has been one of the most remarkable things in my life. And so I'm so grateful for you. But again, for the listeners who are just getting to meet you for the first time, you have not always been the Courage Catalyst. Would that be accurate to say?
That is. Can you tell the truth? Tell the truth today. Tell the truth today.
Yes. And I think that's where I want to start, because one of the things that I really admire about you, and one of the things that I think that the ladies, leaders, and little girls who are like magnets, you have a magnetic personality, but I think one of the things people most admire is your transparency. And that comes through in the classroom, that comes through in your writing, which is a great lead into one of many products or projects that you've done and accomplished over the years is the reveal of your very first book. You're actually the author of multiple works, but your very first book, Girl, Get Your Swag Back. I love this book. And I want you to kind of just lead in and let people know about the genesis of this. I know that this comes from a very a tender place. a place and a time in your life when maybe you did not have your swag, you did not have the courage that you now teach people to unleash. And so let's start there. Let's start here with a little girl from Nebraska who, at one time had courage, but due to circumstances beyond your control, you lost your courage in an instant. Can you tell our listeners about that life-changing moment in time for you?
Yes, 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 yes. And I think that's so important to start with, because it's so interesting how God broke my heart in the place that he uses me now. And I think that's a great point for anybody to be walking into a space where they feel like they, are struggling in, that God will use that.
Always.
So graciously use that, even when you don't want to be used in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But to your point, girl, get your swag back. Whew. We started that journey. Oh my gosh. It literally was an answer to a prayer that I prayed. I asked God to show me my purpose at a season in my life that I was just at a crossroads. There were so many things that I was trying to shed and I was trying to heal from. And he said, I need you to write a book. And at that point, I did not write books. I love books, but I did not write books. And he was like, yeah, but that's what we're doing. And this particular book was my testimony. And it started with a blog with me just writing my story. So my story began one of many stories, but began when I was 18 years old. When I was 18 years old, I was stabbed with a 6-inch butcher knife by my sister's then abuser and held captive in a room and forced to watch the beating of my sister, and just words, just negative and harmful words poured into me at that same time. And just along with another friend of mine who was in that room. And it took and changed the entire trajectory of my life. It changed the entire, I was coming from school, I was college, newly college student, and thinking I was gonna have the time of my life. I had my life planned out. I knew what I was gonna do. Mm-hmm. And it took me completely off track. And so all of the courage and the confidence and all the things that I had, self-confidence, which let's just break down swag. Swag is self-confidence, the walk with God, your attitude of gratitude, and your God-given gifts and talents. All of those things went out the window. My entire life turned upside down. But what people didn't know was that it was upside down. I began to fake, fool, and front for everybody else in my life. And I put on this mask because I thought that's what people required of me. And I didn't want anybody else to know the trauma and the drama that I had suffered because of that experience. And so I just barreled through my life like that. Yep. Harmful, but barreling through my life and saying these two words that I'm sure that all of your listeners, and Nicole, that you've said, many of us say to this day, I'm okay. Yep. I'm fine. Yes. Yes, I'm good. Girl, yes, I'm good. Because you don't want anybody else to know what is going on. But it didn't serve me well in my life. It did serve me well because trauma has tentacles. When we don't deal with traumatic incidents that happen to us, we eat all of that and it begins to eat us. And so I saw it play out in my life, and I just didn't know what it was and how to heal from that. So I'll pause right there.
Yeah, and I think again, one of the things that I really admire is the transparency, because I think for all of us, we have had moments and times, we have had incidences in our life that have snatched our swag just in an instant. Of course, the situation that you endured is horrific. To think that you were subjected to that, and it almost literally cost you your life. But for you to grow from that and now take what was that life-changing test and turn it into a testimony to help other people is remarkable. I'd like for you to, I know that you broke down SWAG because
Mhm.
SWAG is an acronym, again, for self-confidence, walk with God, attitude of gratitude, and God-given gifts and talents. Let's just take a moment to touch on each one of those letters. You know, when you, because I had the pleasure of walking with you through this journey in creating this fabulous
Yes.
masterpiece here. But I remember when you unveiled the name, you know, girl, get your swag back. You know, it took me back. I'm like, okay. And, you know, at that time, I'm not as young as I used to be, but I know swag has a lot of different meanings to a lot of different people. But as God began to unpack it and you courageously went through that journey of self reflection and healing in order to deliver this, you know, it all made sense. So, again, when I think about listeners who may be thinking, oh my goodness, I found myself at a crossroad in my life where I've lost my self-confidence. What one piece of advice would you give? Now I know this book is jam-packed with all kind of wisdom and nuggets and treasures, but if
Mhm.
you had to, because I know that people listen to this broadcast globally, and God has given you a global platform. If there's someone listening who finds themselves at a crossroad even today where their self-confidence is taking a hit, what's one of the nuggets in this book, without giving the whole book away, that you can share with somebody to get their self-confidence back? Or
I
how do
think
you do it?
yes, yes, yes. You know, and being able to be connected to the confidence coach is, has helped me do that too along the way. And so when you think about that, we often talk about this, Dr. Nicole, about how confidence is not always at the same level all the time.
Right?
It's not. And I think that's the mistake that we make. I know it was the mistake that I made, and I still make that mistake. I would say to anybody, there's several things. First of all, and we're not going to have time to unpack that, but one thing that you really have to do is to remind yourself of what you have accomplished in the past. What have you been able to do through your life? You have accomplished some things. You have done some things. You've completed some things. You've had some successes. And so when you feel, and by it, let me just say this, when we're in such an incredible time that we're in today, when we're experiencing trauma, we're experiencing drama and all sorts of things that are going on in the world today, it plays on your mind. It gives you doubt and fear, and tells you that you're not going to be able to do the things that you were called to do. So here comes the negative dirty talk, as I like to call it, in your head, playing that tape over and over and over again to remind you that you maybe have failed, you've made a mistake, you're not good enough, you're past your time, you're too old. You've got to silence that and remind yourself of what you have done. And so what I did was I remember, I just did this. Actually, you and I had this conversation. God had me up till 4 o'clock in the morning one day, just looking at all of the things that I have been able to accomplish, because I was terrified to do this next step. I wanted to do something else. And I just thought, well, who am I to do this? And he said, let me show you what you have done because of me, where you've been, where you've traveled, what the things you've done. He just literally had me up to 4 a.m. to see the different things that I was able to accomplish in my life. And it built me back up to silence the dirty talk. So that's one nugget that you can do.
I think to just totally silence that voice in the back of our heads is something that we have to continuously do. It's not a one and done kind of thing. It is something, even for myself as a confidence coach. You know, it's so funny. God has a sense of humor, but these are real practical skills that we can implement and begin to put in our toolbox, and we've got to use them over and over and over and over again. So
Yes.
let's jump to the W, the walk with God.
Ooh,
You know,
girl.
I love the little the little comment that you make oftentimes in spaces that talks about how swag without the W is nothing but sag. And
That's right.
swag isn't cute. It's not
It's
cute.
not cute. It is not cute.
No.
God said, he said, try to leave me out of this if you will. Try if you want to. Take that W out of there and see, you will have sag. And honey, that is not cute. You cannot, your swag cannot be sagging. That is, it's not cute, it's not a good look.
Yeah.
But the W, the walk with God, Nicole, is like, it's my favorite chapter, because this is where the work happened, that God really literally pressed on me and healed me through that chapter. And he allowed me to expose a lot of my story in that chapter. And so, I had walked away. I was in so much pain in my life, that just all of the stuff again that had just been piling up, that I had walked away from my relationship with God. I just thought, you know what, I'll be back. In fact, I told him, I'll be back. I got to fix it myself. Mm-hmm. And I think, how many of us have made that mistake where we're hurting, we're in pain, or it's just not happening quick enough that we think that we can fix it by putting artificial fillers in place of God. Right. You know, and we're reaching for things that, if you look at an artificial filler, it is just that. It fills you up temporarily because it's artificial. It is not the real thing. And so the walk with God was really about, how do I get my relationship back in a place with him that I am literally walking step by step in the direction that he's got me going, following his breadcrumbs for me, being obedient to what he's called me to do, looking at my walking partners and letting go of the hand of some that don't serve me well. Amen. And grasping on to the ones that do. So he's had me examine, and honey, it was not it was not easy. I'm just gonna be completely honest about that. I'm still working on my walk with God. Let me just be very clear with everybody that it's not a one and done. You still work on it.
Exactly. And the reality is, whatever God has called us to do, and whatever season we find ourselves in, we can do nothing without him.
Nothing.
Period. I mean, you can make attempts your entire life, and you can continue to hit walls. You may experience what seems like a temporary success, and a win here and a win there. But when we talk about long-term wins and being able to stay the course and to really get true fulfillment and purpose out of your life, you cannot do that separate from God. Period.
Period. I tried it.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
It does not work. And Nicole, when you think about that, the walk with God, walking is an action. It is a verb. It requires something of you. Mm-hmm. And so I think about that area of being very intentional. So when we say walking, it doesn't mean just standing still and doing nothing. God requires something of us. He's doing his part, but we have to do ours in order to stay in a relationship. That's any relationship. There is work to make that relationship, solid.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I think that's also, and I just, even having walked this journey with you for all of these years, one word in what you just said jumped out like never before: walking with God. It's your walk with God, because we can walk ahead of God. We can get on our little task. God gives us a little whiff of something, or a vision, or encouragement, a fresh wind, and we will take off and go so far in front of him, and then we'll find ourselves exhausted and tired, and looking back saying, God, where you at? What? He's like, I didn't tell you. What? I'm gonna need you to
go there.
I need you to come on back here and walk with me. But likewise, we can also lag so far behind God. So it's not that people don't have a relationship with him. You have a relationship with him. You know him. You hear his voice. You know he's got a plan that's good for you. But when we lag too far behind and are not in step with him, You know,
That's
there's
it.
work that God is requiring, and oftentimes, and we see it a lot with the clients that we work with, people are waiting for that perfect time for them to get
Yes.
all of their whole self together. Let me wait, and I can't do this right now because I've got to get myself together before
Yes.
I start my walk with God. And that's out of order as well. So
It
I,
really is. It
it is
really is.
it is a crucial part of the process, that
Yes,
walking with
ma'am.
God, tuning in, leaning in to hear what he has to say about your life, because his plan and purpose for each one of us is magnificent.
Exactly.
So
And
yeah.
Nicole, when you talk about, we can talk about this forever and ever. I when I'm speaking, in different spaces, and sometimes, I have to take my message. God always comes with me in my message, regardless. But when I also speak in different areas, sometimes I talk about your walk, right? Your walk, and walking with a purpose,
Yeah.
right? God also requires. I want you to think about that. He requires us to walk with a purpose.
Mhm.
To let that sink in for just a second. If we don't walk with a purpose, how you're not getting to your destination.
Not
You're,
at all. Not
you're
at all. You're
walking
wasting
aimlessly.
time. You're wasting time is what you're
You're
doing.
wasting time.
Yeah, and energy. Stop it. Stop it.
That's it. That's it.
Yes. Well, let's transition to the A, which stands for attitude of gratitude. And you have
Yeah.
some funny stories in this book. I'm not going to spill the tea, but you got some funny stories about your attitude pre and your attitude right now. And I think all of us have a little bit of that edge. I have a nickname. Those y'all close to me call me when I get on the edge and my attitude gets to tilting. Then they start calling me Nikki. Nikki's in the house. you know.
Oh, she
Nikki
did.
was the name I grew up on, so I love the name Nikki. But when I go from Nicole to Nikki, you better watch out. That attitude might need some adjusting.
It needs to be put back in check. I'm telling. Ooh,
I need to adjust
ooh,
the crown a little bit. So let's
that is
talk
it.
about the attitude of gratitude. Let's
Yes.
pause
When you
there
think
for a minute.
about that, for that attitude of gratitude, your attitude really just simply means it's the way you think or feel, right? And that's the way it shapes your behavior, and that's how you show up to other people. Period. That's what it is. And so when it's depleted, when you're depleted, when you're on empty, when you're mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally drained, and you just don't have it, you begin to show up a special kind of way to the people on the other side of you.
Yes.
And my way was, I was the Tasmanian devil. And I don't know how many of you remember that little character, the Looney Tunes character that would just spin off. And my family would say, oh, there she goes. She just spins off like a top. She spins off like a Tasmanian. And that was how I would handle things when I was depleted. And so, but it caused me to stop for a minute. And God said, yeah, we're going to talk about that too, because you cannot get to the destination that he's called you to get to if your attitude is in that special place all the time, right? It prevents you from moving forward in your life because there are other people on the other side of you that you're also responsible for wrecking with your attitude in that special place. But for you yourself as well, it also makes you check your heart position. Where are you at? Where's your heart position at? And so is it focusing on all of those things that keep us in that space, or are you looking for moments intentionally about gratefulness? And my sister Nicole, she always talks about her app that she uses where she puts in points of gratefulness to be reminded, right? I think that's so powerful to be reminded of your points of gratefulness. And how are you outwardly expressing appreciation to other people in your life? That is huge.
Exactly. It's great. It's great to pause on a regular basis and put things into perspective, because I know we all have pursuits, dreams, visions, goals, desires, things that we want to achieve in life, and it's not just about business goals and financial goals, but relational goals, spiritual goals, all of that. But
Mhm.
we're a work in progress. And so giving ourselves permission, I love what you said, a heart check, and really just having that moment, those constant moments to say, you know what, I am really blessed in the big scheme of things. I may not have everything that I want, but my needs are being met. I think about this time, even as we are recording this segment, we're in the middle of a global pandemic. And
Yes.
here in the United States in particular, we have tipped over 150,000 beautiful lives that were here just a few months ago that are no longer here. So I think putting things into perspective. Yes, I'm a work in progress. Yes, I'm not yet where I want to be. But in the words of Joyce Myers, thank God I'm not where I used to be. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? So adjusting that attitude of gratitude and taking that real honest look, because sometimes we don't like what is reflecting back in the mirror. When
Say
we
that.
really
Yes.
pause and we think about how we, like you said, we show up. Are we wrecking those that we love the most? Would your kids say that you have an attitude of gratitude? Spouse or your
Right now.
significant other say, would your mom or your dad or your coworkers or your employees, your church
Mhm.
members, when they see you in the parking lot,
Right.
what would they say? Oh, there's my sister with the attitude of gratitude. Or would they say, would they have other words?
Like that one there.
Yes,
Right.
yes, yes, yes. We have to ask ourselves that and constantly adjust it. So, last but not least, with the acronym of SWAG, the G, tell the people what the G is. I love this because I'm all
Yes.
about purpose, but
Yes.
explain to them what the G is.
Oh gosh, the G is your God-given gifts and talents. And this one right here was around for me. I walked away from a lot. I walked away from the gifts and talents that I had. I didn't think that I could be used in the season of all this brokenness that I was in, and I just felt a sense of overwhelm that I didn't really truly know that God had this amazing purpose for me. If I look back at when before I started writing this to where I'm at right now, you could never ever have told me that I would be speaking like this and going to tell all my business. First of all, to all my business, because that's what God has required of me to tell my business. But this area is really about you walking in your purpose and understanding that you have multiple gifts and talents that He is using. You are a true masterpiece, and He has a plan for you. And that we have to get on that same track that He has for us. That we don't get to sit back and none of us get the luxury of just sitting back and not utilizing those gifts. And let me say this really quickly. Your gift does not need to be compared to anybody
Come
else's.
on.
That's what keep people stuck in a place of not utilizing them. My gift is not Dr. Nicole's gift. My gift is not anybody else's gift but mine. The gift giver gave me things to open up in the time that he had given me those gifts, right?
Mhm.
And so if I get stuck into comparison, then I'm stuck. That's just it. I'm literally stuck because I'm trying to try on somebody else's gift. Stay in your lane. Stay in your gift lane.
Yes.
You have multiple gifts, and God I love how He unlocks them in seasons that He needs us to utilize them in
Yes.
as well. Oh, there's so much that I could say on this. There's so much.
Yes. And I love the fact that you cap your message with God-given gifts and talents, because in this I guess state that we're in with social media, which can be a wonderful tool, but it can also be an enormous curse if
Yes.
you allow yourself to get sucked in competing and comparing yourself with other people. On any given day, you can pick it up, and whether it's the gram or Facebook or LinkedIn even. I mean, you can pick any of them. Just pick one. You can find yourself going, oh my gosh, she's accomplished this. Oh my goodness, he's doing that. And before you know it, we have taken these enormous gifts and talents that God has custom created for us, for you, for me. And we put them on the shelf.
Yes.
In pursuit of somebody else's, which you said, like you said, those are gifts that don't fit you. You know, I'm reminded of a conversation you and I just had, even within the last 48 hours. And we talk a lot about connecting the dots. We're in a season right now where God is doing some pivoting in our business, and you know, the things that are happening, and we can get lost. But God is clearly saying you are in control of your dots.
That's right.
Your dots together. You know, he's not asking us to be the connect. He's the connector of the dots. But you need to work. You need to worry about your dot. What dot is he required you to be the keeper of?
That's right. That is absolutely right. Get your dots, all of them together. There is one thing about this area, Nicole, really quickly. With, I don't know anybody, your listening audience, if you're a Marvel fan. I am. I love superhero movies. I absolutely love them, and I'm a Marvel girl. So Captain Marvel. Oh, there's a scene in this movie that she realizes that she's not been really using all of her capabilities because there was a device that was holding her back. And she goes, all this time, I've been fighting with one hand tied behind my back. And now that hand is released. Yes. So I think about the gifts and talents that we think that we're using, all of them, right? We think we're operating on one little set, right? I got this gift, I've been using it. But you have no idea the amount of gifts and talents that God has yet to release for you. Or that you are actually holding yourself back from utilizing because of doubt and fear. I say, take that other hand and release it. And start moving fully in your full potential and see what happens. That scene.
I love that. You talk about unlocking and God unlocking gifts. And it's almost like, it reminds me actually of the, and it might be a little bit off though, but the parable of the talents. You know what I mean? You think about it, you know, you're looking around and you're admiring somebody else's gift and going, oh, wow, I wish I could. I think I can. Maybe, and that gift is not for you. God is requiring you to handle the gifts and talents that he has entrusted to you. And guess what? As you begin to exercise and use those gifts, not in perfection, but doing it to the best of your ability, that grace comes along, and before you know it, boom, he unlocks another gift that complements that. And here you go. Now you're working it and boom, because you're being a good steward of those gifts and talents that he has entrusted to you. Because the bottom line is, we are the hands and the feet of God.
That's right. That's right.
The work that needs to be done, there's not a mistake that has been made by you being born at the time. And in this dispensation of time, you're here on earth for a purpose. No matter if it's a little purpose or what you would consider to be little in your eyes, or an enormous purpose, God has entrusted gifts and talents to each of us that need to be activated right now. And so, girl, we could just spend the whole time in those places. But I hope if somebody is tuning in, maybe you even found this broadcast by accident, but we know nothing happens by accident. Everything is divine. But if you're tuning in and you're going, you know what? I didn't realize that, wow, I lost my swag too. And now I know how to get it back. I need to work on my self-confidence. I need to get my walk with God, get in step with my walk with God. I need to adjust my attitude perhaps. and focus on my God-given gifts and talents and allow God to utilize those for his glory. You know, that's how you get your swag back. And I look at
That's
you,
it.
Dr. D. I am so extremely proud. Let me see. When was this book written? I have lost track. Let me see when this is.
2013.
Wow. Wow. 2013. So to see how even your faithfulness in
Yes.
doing the work, because this wasn't when you started this journey, I think we can all be very, very clear. It wasn't about any of the listeners. It wasn't about any of the people who have read the book and whose lives have been transformed by the book.
No,
It was about you doing your work.
that was
And
my
with
work.
you doing your work,
Mhm.
again,
Mhm.
we talk about the multiplication of the gifts. Here comes all of the other things that come with it because you did the hard work. So
Amen.
again, if you're tuning in, we challenge you today to start doing your work. You never know the treasure that's on the other side of your obedience. You
Yes.
never know. You never would have imagined, I'm sure. And this is just one of again, one of many works. But let's just pause here. When I think about swag, it has evolved from a book to a book and a guide to swag. And you look at my shirt, those that are yeah, that are looking at the video. I got swag on, I got shirts and bags and buckets and cups and all kind of stuff to remind me to get my swag and make sure I keep my swag. I think about the coaching, the group coaching. Let's talk about that right now because I know the month of July is now designated as International Girl Get Your Swag Back Month. And
Yes.
I know we're on the back end of that, but you also host these special gatherings several times a year. Can you talk about the tell them all the stuff? I don't want to tell them. You tell them. You tell them. Tell them.
She knows the stuff because she's always in the stuff. So that's when you have good walking partners. I'm telling you. So you are right. The book God has evolved this book from a book to, the different things. There's self-guided. So if you are a mom or a corporate professional or whomever, a woman, you're a woman, just anywhere, you can do this on your own as well, virtually, and do it in the comfort of your own home at your own pace. There's that experience. But then he's evolved it. So it's theswaguniversity.com, theswaguniversity.com. If you don't put the in front of it, I don't know where you'll go. I'm not responsible for that. But there's a 6-week masterclass that we take women through this experience. It's virtual, but it's live. It's a live virtual cohort of women that come together. They meet once a week for 6 weeks and they do the work. There's homework. Dr. Nicole is one of the professors in the university. She comes and she brings it when we talk about self-confidence and she breaks it down and we do that work. And it's every area. There are swag coaches that come in again to pour into you and to challenge you to do the work in between. And you are partnered with someone to help hold you accountable. And so once you are in, it's not for the faint of heart. If you're not ready, truly, when we say, are you ready to get your swag back? It's not for the faint of heart. It is truly an engaging, interactive experience that stars you. And so we that's what we do. But we had the audacity to claim July as International Girl Get Your Swag Back Month because both Nicole and I are multinational speakers and facilitators, and we've had the opportunity to literally see women on different parts of this world, and they suffer from the same thing. We're all women, and we suffer from the same thing. So it is no longer just national; it is International Girl Get Your Swag Back Month that we celebrate and bring people into this fold. But we do that. If you have any type of interest to get into this and to be a part of it, go to theswaguniversity.com and purchase a book, sign up for a class. There's specials that are being ran in there all the time for your tuition. please feel free. We know that people are at different places in their lives, and there's always something for you to be able to have that experience. So that's
Yes.
a little bit about that.
And in addition, if you happen to be someone who's currently utilizing your gifts and talents, and you have tapped into, maybe you've gotten your swag already, and now you are called to help other people, you can actually become certified to facilitate and to, even in a small group, you might have a group of people that you meet with. Maybe you have a book club, maybe you are over a women's ministry, but there are a lot of ways that you and those in your circle can get your swag back. So as she said, go to the Swag University. And can you also share, because I know that in addition to the website, you do a lot to keep people engaged socially on social media. So if somebody wanted to follow you and see the work that you're doing, or find out about some of the other great stuff that you're doing, you got to come back and sit in this seat again, because we got so much that we can talk about. But as it pertains to them following you on a regular basis, where can they do that?
Yes, I'm on all the social media outlets. I believe I'm trying. I really am trying. So DeYonne Parker, DeYonne Parker. You can find me out there. If you also wanted to plug into the swag community, please just put "Girl Get Your Swag Back." You will find our community out there. It's a private community, and we will. Yes, we do accept you in there. So, because we want to have lovely women like yourselves to be out there to add to the community. So please come on out there and see and check us out. But Dr. Nicole, you are absolutely right. We have a lot going on that we have to talk about. So thank you for reminding me about the small group as well. So we have had some wonderful women's groups to be able to actually already do swag, and got some pictures back from their experience of doing swag. And Dr. Nicole, this is such an incredible just platform. Swag also a portion of the proceeds goes to Dr. Nicole Steele's foundation, her organization, Diamond in the Rough. And Diamond in the Rough, if you have not seen it, please, y'all need to go out there and take a look at Diamond in the Rough, because it serves that area that we talked about, those young girls ages 4 to 18 years old. A portion of the proceeds goes to that group, that wonderful organization that's been around for now almost 17 years? It's 17 years now. Woo-hoo! Yes.
So with that said, we want to hopefully help little girls not lose their swag. We are trying to establish the swag very early, and we want to help them hold on to that swag so they can shine and do great things. So as I said, Dr. D, we're going to have you back to talk about some of the other great work that you are doing. I am very grateful again to be able to walk and do life with you, to be able to engage, and also to see all of the lives that are truly impacted by your obedience and saying yes. We have seen, again, through this journey, women's lives totally transformed. So if you're listening and you're going, I don't know. Come on. Just order the book. Start there. This is a good read. You can knock this out in a day or two. I mean, I'm telling you, it is good. It's riveting. It's like, ooh. And you can also get it on the Kindle too. So, if you are concerned, or maybe you want it right now, you don't want to wait for us to ship it to you. You can get it downloaded today, read it on your Kindle or your electronic device. So again, the Swag University, you can find out more. And can you also share your personal website as well? Because in addition to being an author, you are also, again, a multifaceted individual. You're a coach, a facilitator, you're doing all kind of stuff. So can you tell them about your personal website as well, for them to learn more about you?
Absolutely. So it is my name. So it's DeYonneParker.com. Would love for you to come out there and connect and see what we're doing out there. We definitely would love to coach the wonderful women who are looking to pivot in this process right now. I know lots of us are pivoting and trying to find ourselves again. So we would love to be able to coach and to really get you into some places that you want to be in. So thank you so much for that. But that's where you can find me, out there on my website too.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, thank you again for being a guest on A Priceless Perspective. And thank you for all of you that have tuned in today. You can learn more about, again, Diamond in the Rough, which is our nonprofit organization. You can visit that website at www.ditr.org. You can also find out if you're a lady or a leader that is looking to take your business or your calling to a new level. You can join us at gemmakers.org. That's GEMMAKERS.org. And of course, you can learn more about me and listen to even archived messages of A Priceless Perspective. You can find all that at therealnicolesteele.com. So again, thank you for tuning in. Join us again for another episode of A Priceless Perspective. Bye-bye.